Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Before we get started with today's episode, I want to take a few moments and give you a preview of what you're about to hear and also direct you to some other series that I already have completed on my podcast. So you're about to listen to Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams. You're listening to a 30-part series on that. Today's episode is just one of 30. It's specific to lean leaders, lean managers, anyone who's leading teams of people through process improvement and continuous improvement projects, Six Sigma, those kind of things. It's not about the tools and the methods and all that. It's about how to lead teams of people. So any leader, anybody at any level can get value from this. But I just want you to know that's what this series is about. It's about that specific book. So hope you enjoy it. But I have some other series that may interest you if this series does not. Got a lot of episodes already out there. But I have a book called Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines. It's all about how to become a high-impact individual, how to become a sought-after employee of choice, an employee that people want to hire and want to promote. That series, there's a 30-part series, starts at episode 65. I have another series on my book, Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision, Unleash Your Team's Potential. That book is for leaders, formal authority leaders who want to learn how to effectively lead people. That series, 30-part series, starts at episode 111. I have another series. It's an 11-part series on my book, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation, How to Become Your Best Self. That series starts at episode 158. I have another series on my Blue Collar Leadership and Culture, the 5 components for building high-performance teams. That book is really for the top leader, and it's how do you become the sought-after employer of choice. It's a 30-part series. It begins at episode 179. My wife Rhea and I, this year in 2021, the theme for my podcast this year was all about change. That's why I'm doing this series on Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams, because it's all about leading teams through change. But we have a 15-part series we recorded together on our book, Change Happens, Leading Yourself and Others Through Change. That series starts at episode 211. And then this Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams series, the one you're about to listen to, one of the episodes of, it started at episode 230 and will be a 30-part series. So it's going to take a little while to finish it. Hope you find value in some of these series. Let's get to today's podcast. All right, folks, let's dive into chapter 14, which is part 14 of 30 in this series. Chapter 14, part 14 is Connect First. That's the title of the chapter. Subtitle is Communication is about information. Connection is about inspiration. So we're going to dive into that, but just want to plant that seed up front. It's pretty easy to communicate. And when you do, you're simply providing information. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't do that very well. Even lean leaders. I've seen people lead lean Kaizen teams, and it's like they don't want to give them any information. One reason they don't want people to have questions. The more information you give people, the more they want to be involved. The more questions they have, the more ideas they have, the more suggestions they have. And low impact lean leaders, they're happy to just kind of lead the way and tell people what to do. It's really all about them. They think they're the smart ones. They're the one who have the most experience, who have seen the most maybe process improvement events take place. So they just want to make it quick and just minimum information and just use the people as the objects. But connection, again, is about inspiration. It takes a lot of energy to connect with people, to move people. Definitely takes energy and effort to inspire people. For me to be inspirational to you, I've had to do a lot of extra work on me. If I haven't done that work on me, very doubtful that I'm going to be inspirational for you. So I'm going to kick off today with a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, "A great man is always willing to be little." A great man is always willing to be little. And if you want to be a high impact, highly effective, lean leader, any kind of leader, but especially a lean leader, when you're walking into a room, you've only got 3 days, 4 days, 5 days to take a team of people who may not like you, who may not even know you, who don't like change. You got to motivate and inspire them to actually get some results, because you're not going to get very many good results if you can't inspire the team. If they're doing the bare minimum just to make it through the week, they're not going to look good. You're not going to look good. But what Ralph Waldo Emerson was saying was, a great man's always willing to be little. What I'm telling you and what he's saying right there is, don't make it about you. Be small. Make it about them. You're not standing up front to get the spotlight shining on you. You're in the back holding the spotlight, shining it on everyone else. That's a different perspective, but that's the one I'm teaching you in this series on Blue Collar Kaizen, leading lean and lean teams. So when we communicate, we're interacting with the conscious mind of others. The conscious mind listens like this: hands up. Who are you to be judging me, telling me what to do, telling me what I need to be doing? That's the way your conscious mind is going to listen. So when we communicate, we're interacting with the conscious mind of others. As a result, we may be able to change what they do or don't do from the outside with our words. Communication is about motivation, and motivation comes from the outside. So it's pretty easy to see that when we're communicating, we're trying to motivate someone, but that motivation is coming from the outside. And anyone can communicate. All you must do is have information and be willing to share that information. When you share information, you're officially communicating, but you may or may not be building trust. Remember, our last couple of episodes, we've been talking about trust. So you have to understand, just because you communicate with someone doesn't mean you're building trust. You may be creating distrust. It depends. That's why you want to move beyond communication to connection, because when you're making a connection with someone, you're building trust. That's the only way you can connect. You cannot connect with someone you're not building trust with. So when you move beyond communication toward connection, you're building trust. That's why it's called a connection. People trust you. You trust them. They trust you. So when we connect, we're interacting with the subconscious mind of others. The subconscious mind, remember, conscious mind listens like this. Subconscious mind listens like, put your hands behind your ears. And that's the way your subconscious mind listens. It's listening to all the little details. It's listening to what's being said. What does that have to do with me? Is there any value in that for me? Because it's really not about me, but it is about me indirectly. But my subconscious mind listens in a completely different way than my conscious mind listens. So when we connect, we're interacting with the subconscious mind of others. You just need to understand that. And as a result, we're able to change how they think and feel on the inside. Remember, communication really is about getting people to change what they're thinking or what they're doing from the outside with our words. But connection is about being able to change how people are thinking and feeling on the inside. And we do that with our character, who we are. And connection is about inspiration. And inspiration, comes from the outside basically, but it shows up on the inside. So inspiration really, I say, comes from the inside, although inspire means to breathe life into, which means externally, but the life is going into, which means now it's inside. You know, it gets complicated when you start talking about this. But when I say inspiration, I'm talking about someone on the outside has inspired you, but it's showing up on the inside because of how you're thinking and feeling. So that's a pretty big component there. So few people can connect. Anyone can communicate, but few people can connect. And connecting has less to do with information and more to do with creating positive feelings. And that's again based on trust. And when you are connecting with another person, you are always building trust. I've said that repeatedly, but you got to know, you got to understand the impact trust has on your influence. So now you got to know, I need more influence as a leader. So how do I get more influence? I've got to connect. So because it's going to take you more time, more energy. Communication easy, you just share information. Connecting though, you got to build relationships based on trust, but you're going to get tremendously different results, better results. High impact lean leaders intentionally learn how to connect. Then they do it relentlessly every day, whether they are leading a team or simply interacting with others throughout their day. High impact lean leaders take connecting with people seriously. They're doing it all the time, whether they're leading an event or whether they're just working during regular operations when they're not leading an event, but they're doing all the other stuff that they do. So high impact lean leaders kick off team events by making it about the team. That's how you connect. You got to make it about the team right off the bat, not about themselves or the process. High impact lean leaders are humble. They go slow to go fast. And the only way they can make it about the team and not about themselves in the process is they have to slow down. They have to get to know the team. They focus on relationships before they focus on results. High impact leaders focus on relationships before they focus on results. That's what allows them to get ridiculous results. It's not who they are. I mean, it is indirectly, but it's the relationships they build because of who they are. They get to know the team. They ask the team questions. And I'm talking about Monday morning, but also throughout the week. They want to know who they are, not only what they do. A lot of lean leaders, low impact lean leaders, they come in on Monday and they may ask people, what they do, what their job is, that sort of thing, how long they work there, but they don't really ask them and dive into who they are as people. What do you do outside of here for fun? What's a hobby you have that's got nothing to do with work? Where else have you worked in your career? What other kind of jobs have you had in your life? What do you aspire to do in the future? Things like that, where you actually talk to people because they're people. You're not just seeing them as an object on the team to help you achieve the mission. You got to connect with people. That means you got to get to know people. So low impact lean leaders start off team events with pride, ego, sometimes even arrogance. I mean, there's a lot of folks in the lean world, they're arrogant because when you know a lot about lean compared to people who don't know anything about lean, you look like a wizard. And some people think that means they're special. I'm telling you, it means they're arrogant if they think they're a wizard. But they treat team members as objects to be used to improve the process, not people to be valued and helped. And they don't try to connect with the team because they prefer to direct the team. Lean leaders, any leaders in any industry at any level who have a lot of pride, ego, and arrogance, they don't value connecting with people. They value directing people. Those are low impact leaders. So there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. It's called humility. And Warden Burl Cain, you might have heard me talk about him before. Rhea and I, my wife, we've supported a prison fellowship. It's something called the Warden's Exchange. And that whole prison fellowship is basically a nonprofit organization, and the whole point behind what they do is cultural transformation within prisons, within the prison staff, and also the relationships between the prison staff and the prison population, the inmates. And so we've been supporting them for probably 4 years now. It's a privilege to support them. We get to go speak to them live in different places. We speak to wardens. There'll be groups of wardens, and we've been in Ohio. We've been in out at California at San Quentin. We've been in Ohio to the Ohio Reformatory for Women, one of the greatest examples you'll ever hear me talk about, where they live the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And we do a lot of online video training with them. But anyway, when we were in California and also in Ohio, but we met Warden Burl Cain. He's retired now. He was a warden that basically transformed Angola, the Louisiana State Penitentiary. You may have seen him on some shows. I think back on Animal Planet, they had a prison rodeo series they'd done for a while, and you probably saw him on there. But we got to meet him, got to talk to him, have lunch with him a couple times, dinner. Really cool. But he said something when he was actually talking to the other wardens, and I captured that quote. But basically what he was saying, remember, I just told you a moment ago, there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. It's called humility. One of the good quotes I got from Warden Cain was, be humble so you don't stumble. And he was talking to the top leaders of the prisons, the wardens. He's telling them, be humble so you don't stumble. Because what he knows is people with too much pride, ego, arrogance, they're going to stumble. They're going to stumble. So you want to be humble so you don't stumble. Even as a lean leader, don't let your knowledge, your competency make you feel like you should be on a pedestal or you on top of the mountain. You're there to help people succeed. You're not there to show them how smart you are. Now, you may need to do what I said before, declare your intent. Tell them about many of the things you've done successfully, but do it in a way that says, I'm just sharing my success so that you can trust me to help you gain success. Not, hey, I did this and hey, I did that. Because if you say anything like that, they know you did it with a team and you're not even talking about the team. You're talking about I. So what you say is, I led a team. That team was able to accomplish X, Y, Z. Make it all about the team. So they know when you're talking about them in the future, you're talking about the team. You're talking about them, not you. So declare your intent, share some successes so they can trust that you can help them be successful. But be confident, but not arrogant. And again, the only difference between the two is humility. So high impact lean leaders not only communicate well, but they also connect with others intentionally. Just like I told you and talked to you about building trust intentionally. Make deposits into the emotional trust account of others intentionally. Well, when you connect with others, you do it intentionally for multiple reasons. But the number one reason is to build trust, to gain influence, to help them succeed, because you do know a lot of stuff they need to know. But if they don't like you, they don't care what you know. They don't want to learn nothing from you if they don't like you. So choose to intentionally connect with the people. And my wife, Rhea, she wrote a book called Straight Talk, The Power of Effective Communication. And highly recommend that book. You want to learn how to be a better communicator, a connector. It's really what it's about. So you put communication in the title because a lot of people don't know what connection really means. But what she's really helping you do in that entire book is to move beyond communication and actually make a connection. And you can read it if you go to RIA, RIA, story, STORY.com/download. You can actually read an excerpt from her book, Straight Talk. And it's on audio, paperback, ebook. It's also a 30 chapter, 3 pages per chapter format, like a lot of my books. But anyway, Rhea says this: connection multiplies communication. Connection multiplies communication. So what I'm saying there is related to that is high impact lean leaders are always multipliers. They leverage communication by making a connection. That's the whole point. You still can communicate, but because you've connected, that communication is going to be multiplied. You're going to get better results with it. But people who do not want to lead an event, a Kaizen event, are not interested in communicating, much less connecting. So they should not be pressured into leading an event. The reason I'm telling you this is one way to demonstrate respect for the people is by not pressuring others into leading teams. It's one thing a lot of people do. Managers of people, they want to force people to lead teams. But people who don't want to lead a team don't want to connect while they're on a team. They don't even care about communicating because they don't want to be on the team. So instead, find someone who wants to lead a team. Lead it yourself or cancel the event. But don't do what low impact leaders do. Don't use authority to pressure someone into leading an event. You're trying to maximize your influence, not minimize your influence. If you force someone to lead an event who doesn't want to lead an event, guess what they're doing for you with your emotional trust account, with all the people they're talking to? They're making withdrawals for you. And if you force somebody to lead an event who don't want to lead an event, you're making a withdrawal for yourself. And then they're going out spreading the word about you. And so they're putting withdrawals into all of your trust accounts with all the people that they're talking to. You got to understand how all this stuff works. So high impact leaders know the value of connecting. As a result, they build strong relationships and develop those who show an interest in leading events. They focus on the ones who are hungry. They invest time with them on the front end. They build their confidence. They teach them what I'm teaching you in this book. If you've read this book and you have people in your team or in your organization who wants to lead events, you're going to give them a copy of this book. Say, you got to read this book. It's going to help you be successful. And you also give them the necessary training and support in advance to help them succeed. Again, it takes energy. You're going to be connecting with that person by helping them become successful before they even start. In other words, you'll be moving beyond communicating and you will actually be connecting. So you do not connect with people by pressuring them to do things they don't want to do. You can't connect with people by ignoring them and not listening to them. So if somebody says, I don't want to lead a lean event, and you say, oh, you got to, or some other boss says you got to, well, you're ignoring what they're saying and you're not listening to what they're saying. I'm telling you, you're making withdrawals in that emotional trust account. So I'm going to leave you with a quote today from Napoleon Hill. I've read a lot of books by him. He wrote books in the early 1900s and good stuff. Highly recommend diving into some of Napoleon Hill's content. Anyway, he says this: taking the conversation away from another person is a common form of lack of self-control, which is not only discourteous, but it deprives those who do it of many valuable opportunities to learn from others. So what he's talking about is taking the conversation away from another person, basically shutting them down. What I was just saying a moment ago, not listening to them, ignoring them. When you do that, you're depriving yourself of a potentially valuable opportunities to learn from others. He's talking about listening in general. Taking away the conversation means you're not listening any longer. I'm going to leave you with that. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.